All right, let's start this again. Welcome back to the weekly Tesla Talk. One thing I want to talk about today is the history of the spa and how I got into the Massage Luxe franchise. So basically, back in 2017, there was a Massage Envy that was newly built that started and had a lot of promotions going on. And so my wife and I went over there for a massage, got a great deal on massage, went in there. They sold us on the membership. We became members. And that's basically how I got started in the just kind of the massage franchise system. Was I was a client. So we were clients for a couple of years. All of a sudden, my wife's a planner, so every time she had an appointment, she would set the next one, right? The next month. I'm not like that. My schedule's all over the place. I'm building a business, a wealth management business. It's busy, so my time is taken up. I would just try to, like on a Tuesday, call and say, hey, I've got Sunday open at like in the afternoon. And they could never get me in. That went on for a while. In 2021, I finally sat down and one Sunday and just Googled, because I'm thinking, well, you've got too many clients. So maybe this is an opportunity to bring in someone, another business as a competitor. And Massage Luxe kept popping up. I went through their website, applied to own a franchise, basically was contacted not only by corporate, but there's territorial owners, like there's a person that owns the state of Indiana. That person reached out to me and wanted to actually do a face-to-face meeting. They stopped in by my office. We had a quick, hey, meet and greet, make sure that I was legitimate, and talked a little bit about the spa and how successful she had been. It just kept going, and basically we went ahead and signed up for what they call Discovery Day, which is really just a dog and pony show. They bring you in for a full day. You're in a conference room, kind of shuffle in each department. Those departments talk about what they do for the franchisees, how they help and support kind of some of the new stuff coming down the pike and things like that. So it's very informative. It was great. So after that day, my wife and I decided to do it. We had an option of either buying one franchise or actually having the ability to build out 3. And going into this, my goal was to have 3 or 6. In my mind, I'm a planner. That's what I do for a living. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, let's get the first one open, go through that process, get it break even, and then go to the next city and start the process over, hopefully opening one of these once a year for the 3 or 6 years. That was the goal, right? So we're going through the process. Buying one franchise territory was like $45,000. Buying 3 was $90,000. So it was a good deal. But something told me, we were just coming out of COVID. This is 2021. And basically, for some reason, my gut, and I'm one of these guys that I go probably too hard and too fast. And so I slowed down a little bit. Said, okay, let's just buy one. Let's do that. We don't really know a whole lot of what this entails. A successful business. My wife's a dentist. She has 2 practices. We don't have a lot of time to manage and do things. And this was not what we wanted to do. We wanted to buy as an investment like we own in our stock portfolio. So we did one, signed the agreement in late spring of 22. By July, I had hired a manager. The franchise gives you a list of things that has to get completed to get this opened. So basically, I gave that to her. I was working on finding a space, getting architectural drawings done, getting bids for construction, and working on construction and getting things built. Her thing was making sure we could get electricity and water and supplies from the suppliers and things like that, just getting all that stuff ready to go. Mind you, I hired her in July. After a few weeks of hiring her, she had some family issues or something come up, said, hey, I can't do it. So she basically quit. And so then I'm like, okay. So it's early on, so we're not too high pressure. Basically got referred to another person. She was a massage therapist, which the corporate Luxe said, don't do it. Do not hire a massage therapist to manage your thing. And looking back, I should have heeded that warning. There's a couple things that they told me that I should do that I didn't do, and I look back and should have done those. But I went ahead and hired her. And so I hired her, got her going, and then a week later, the original person I hired to be a manager came back to me and said, hey, I'd like to really want to do this. I got my family issues taken care of, but I don't want to be the manager. I'd like to be the assistant manager. And because there's a lot of work here, blah, 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 and stuff like that. And I'm looking at him like, I'm not sure there's a lot of work, but okay, I like the person. So I'll go ahead and do it. So here we are, 1st of August, nothing built. real estate hadn't been locked down yet. I've got 2 people on payroll. And basically payroll is our personal checking account. That's payroll, savings and things like that. So we're doing that. We go into the fall. I secure the real estate. We find a good place. It's really just a minute from my office. So that's convenient. Nailed down the construction team. The construction cost is about 30% higher than the forecast that I was told through the franchise. Obviously, COVID, things have become scarce, building materials. Costs went through the roof. It was hard to find, because construction companies was hard to find employees. So the costs went up and up. So it was about 30%. The original bid was 30% higher than what we forecasted. I negotiated with the construction company. They've done some work for us in the past. So we had a relationship with them. They brought the price down, but it was still well above per square foot of what we had projected. I had secured financing, through a bank that I've been dealing with. That's all in my book. I've got a great relationship with a banker. Money was not the issue as far as getting access to capital. And so we started, everything was going good, and then we opened. But one thing I did discover, one of the individuals fessed up and said that basically they were working half days. I was paying them for a full 40 hours a week each. They were basically working half days, which is just unbelievable. But I was too far down the road to just get rid of everybody and start over. Because at that point, we're in the process of starting to hire people. We had to get massage therapists on staff. We don't have massage therapists. We don't really have a business. So I just said, okay, I understand it. We'll just keep moving forward and let's get this thing open, and then I'll deal with that kind of stuff down the road. Basically, we got open in March of 2023. So basically, I've been paying payroll for 2 people for 5, 6, 7, 8 months before we actually were even open. And also doling out all the cost overruns were coming out of my pocket. It was just a tremendous stress on myself and my family, because we had a lot of money saved up, but it was dwindling very quickly. And then we opened, and we spent a ton of money on pre-opening marketing. We sold a lot of what we called legacy gift cards to get people in. We were selling a legacy membership, which was just basically $55 a month for the first year. We didn't have, it could be a lot of things, but we just didn't get the big bump at the beginning. We had several days there where we had several appointments. The one that I talk about in my book, 28 Summers, we had 19 what we call prospects, right? That knew, they'd never been to the spa before, brand new. The closing percentage, as far as Massage Luxe is concerned, should be around 40%. So when you think about 19 prospects in for the day that are brand new, you can do the math. We should have sold 6, 7, 8 memberships that day. I was working, came in that evening, looked at our numbers, we had sold basically 0. And that to me was the day that I was like an oh shit moment. I'm like, okay, something's not happening here. And basically it was, I'll be honest, it was a virtual nightmare from then on. The original manager, she quit. So then I moved up the assistant. The one I originally hired to be the manager, moved her up. But she was constantly wanting to meet with me, wanting to talk to me about just little stuff. I was just like, wait, you're a manager. Okay. If you want to sweep every hour, have the girls sweep every hour, that's great. I don't need to hear about that. That was just, I really liked the lady, but at the end of the day, I had the wrong person in the wrong seat on the bus. And then she left, and then I hired another manager, and she made everybody mad, and everybody was gonna leave because of this manager. So I had to get rid of her, and I finally just moved up one of my front desk girls, and I thought, okay, this person has a calm personality, it'll be okay, I can guide her, I'll do most of the management, I've been doing this for a long time, it's not that big a deal. The spa is not that hard of a business to run. So I helped, guided her, and then after a while, I was kind of, I don't know, something popped up that I was just like, something's weird going on. Basically, there was a way for her to log in from her phone as if she was clocking in, but she was at home and she wasn't in the spa. And then she wouldn't clock out for an hour or two after she left work. So then I had to spend time going through the cameras and said, okay, she says she clocked out at 5, but she left at 4:05. And so I went back in time and I checked every day. And then I got information from Luxe about, can I see where someone's logging in on their phone, that they're not physically in the, so I had to get rid of her. And I gave her every opportunity for us to do, because she swore that she didn't do that. Now, later the staff said, oh yeah, she was doing that. We all knew it. And I'm like, well, why didn't anybody say anything to me? But you know, that's employees. They don't want to narc on people. So then that's when I brought in Emma, and I also gave her an assistant, Kennedy, and they're supposed to be a team. And I think they do a great job. I tell Emma's one of those people that she'll try to do everything, and you can't do everything. You do need to kind of delegate and give some people some duties. Some of the, things that are important, but as a manager, it's maybe not so important to you. There's things that have to get done as a manager, that you can like marketing. You can oversee it, and you can talk, and you can help with some of the planning, but you need someone to do that. And so she's learned to do that. She's been a godsend because my thought process on the spa now as a business, I'm just looking at the bank account, looking at payroll, looking at expenses, talking to my accountant. She does the books every month, just trying to get to a point of break even. That's really all I want, because my wife and I still pay the mortgage out of our own personal. So basically we loan the spa $5,800 every month to pay the mortgage for the build out and all the equipment, the beds, the computers, and all that stuff. And we actually used to pay all the insurance, because the insurance runs about $10,000 a year on that facility. We used to just pay that ourselves personally too. This is the first year that I'm actually having the spa pay its insurance. So the goal was by the end of this year, 2026, that it would pay all its bills, all its marketing, because it used to be all the Facebook marketing that we do would go on an American Express credit card, and then I just personally paid it. That was a loan to the corporation or LLC money I invested in that particular business. So that's where we're at. It's still a kid, still paying its bills. We're hoping that at some point it will graduate and start paying its own bills. But that's the story. I was a happy member of Envy. I couldn't get in. I felt like they had too many clients. I guess I need to circle back and say the reality of it wasn't that they had too many clients and members, which I don't know, maybe they do, but the reality of it was they couldn't find enough therapists, which is kind of odd because we're very fortunate in this area where we have a junior college that has a program for massage therapists. We have a esthetician school that's part of a beauty school for hair and nails. But also the local college has a physical therapy program where they have a minor in massage therapy. And we have another college that they took that program and actually placed it in this other college too. So we have basically 3 colleges that have the ability to put out massage therapists, and we still can't get enough. So that was the problem, and that has been the problem from day one. And one of the things I was telling you that that Lux Corporate was telling me to do, they said hire as many therapists right off the bat as you can. When we first opened, my payroll was running 12, 13, 14,000 every 2 weeks. We had no income coming in. So to cover that, my wife and I had to put money into the organization because I didn't borrow operating capital. I felt that we should be, and what Lux was telling me from a corporate side is that you should be break even to profitable in 90 days. I said, okay, I can cash flow this for 90 days, no worries. We're still not cash flow positive after, like I said, we opened in March 2023. Here it is, July of 2026. I love the spa. I love the employees. It's a lot of fun, but it's been a tough run. And I'm very grateful that my wife and I have careers that have allowed us to have the capital and the cash flow to just take care of the spa and make sure it stays open. But at some point, you just gotta wake up one day and say, okay, either I gotta hand it off to somebody else and maybe just say, hey, it wasn't meant to be, or it happens. It becomes profitable. And I'm not worried about it being profitable. If it becomes break even, my life is super. The thing's taking care of itself. So yeah, so that's the talk. Business is not what people think. They think, oh, as soon as you own a business, it's all, you're rich and you have all this free time and all this stuff, and it is not the case. I would never do it differently. I mean, I'm always gonna be a business owner, but it is a lot of stress. You gotta work through the pain. Sometimes you just feel like quitting, but at the end of the day, you just gotta keep going. That's where we're at. The spa's great. Got a lot of great employees over there. Emma's doing an awesome job. Kennedy does an awesome job. The therapists are great. We just hired a new one. I think we got some new graduates from the schools that I talked about. I think we get 1 or 2 of those coming in the fall.